bit of progressive here.
Alrighty, so we're at Sydney.
Hope you find some kind of peace of mind. And hope you find some kind of peace of mind.
Was true. In my love, in my
Hope you find some kind of
All right. I hope you find some kind of peace of mind. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Matty B, Epis Radio Entertainment. Thank you for joining us for episode 33 of Mental Health with Epis. I have a new co-host that I want to introduce to you all. My friend, Deanna Astol. I call her D. D, what's going on? Thank you for returning to the show. And I'm glad to have you as an official co-host. It's the official debut for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give her a round of applause. I was waiting for it, D. That was good timing, actually. I knew you were going to come through with that. That is hilarious. Yes. Thank you for coming on. I thought, when I had you on for an interview, the back and forth banter, I just thought it fit for the show, and to have you on tonight to join me for this episode and for many future episodes going forward, hopefully, as long as you will indulge me. It's a beautiful thing, so I appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here.
We had a pretty crazy day. I don't know about you, but I had a pretty crazy day in terms of work. I'm not going to too much into detail, but it is important. It is my life. My job. We work for the same company. We work for the same company, me and D. And although we don't work in the same departments or anything like that, we know each other outside of this job. It just so happens that years later, as we connect now, we're working for the same, I guess corporation, you could call it.
So weird, right?
It is pretty weird. And today, just so happens that they were going a complete transition with software that they've, a newer software that they're now introducing into the company, straying away from the old, ancient, even though apparently this software that we're currently adopting has been around a bit. It's not necessarily like it's modern, but now my company is coming up, to modern day times with it. And my God, the chaos that ensued, especially where I work, was just troubling. And I was just left picking up the pieces all day. I think overall it was a job well done, but boy, was it stressful. So, to come on tonight, de-stress a little bit and get some things off my chest is definitely important. It's definitely something I need. D, you mentioned that it really didn't affect your job too much. So
No, we're not using that new software, but I'm
Okay,
doing
yeah.
something new for the summer. That's just the summer, and it's extra work, extra inputting of numbers, and
Right.
it was a lot. It was a lot today.
It was a Monday of Mondays for sure.
Yes, June 1st.
June 1st. We are officially out of May, Mental Health Awareness Month. I try to do more shows throughout the month. We only was able to do a couple. The post that I put out today, very geared towards mental health awareness. And I believe June's Pride Month, right? Am I wrong? There, D?
Yes.
Right.
That's
So yeah,
right.
happy Pride. All right. So here we are in June. Definitely going to be celebrating that. I hope to have some guests, that I guess fall align uh the pride sector of things. Get some guests and talk about that and really promote pride in general. Um, that'd be cool. So I'm in the works trying to figure that out, see what I can do, get some people on. But to close out Mental Health Awareness Month, I put out a post earlier today talking about my journey out of the darkness, and that's the topic of tonight's show for me. D also wanted to talk about, I guess, to paraphrase a little bit for you, D, being more present with things. I don't know if you want to elaborate that, but I know the video that you wanted to play tonight, it did touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, it's just basically surrender. The whole concept behind that, because a lot of people have one idea about what it is, and it can actually be really helpful when it comes to emotional and mental health.
Yeah. So first off, yeah, I'm gonna play a little video well, not video, a post that I gotta put out. We're gonna talk about it a little bit. Then we'll get to Deanna's as well and talk about that. For me, I just had a lovely weekend. I'm coming off a crazy jam packed weekend where I was meeting up with an old friend of mine that I met in college. We went to go see Kid Cudi at Madison Square Garden. It was my me and my wife's 5th year wedding anniversary. Lot going on, you know. Thank you. Lot going on, throughout the weekend, and it was something for me, kind of a full circle moment to be at Madison Square Garden and seeing Kid Cudi live. If anybody knows me, and knows me, personally, that music means the world to me, and music has gotten me through some really pretty rough times in my life. It's honestly been the focal point for me. Yeah, interesting, Dee, to hear. I don't know too much about your musical interest, if you even care that much for music, and it was something that I wanted to bring up to tonight's show and talk to you about as well. Because for me, truthfully, I mean, it's got me through some dark times, and Kid Cudi is was one of those artists for me growing up. That just for whatever reason, almost every other song, the lyrics, down to the T, resonated with me in some sort of way, and for years got me through a deep, dark depression, especially after my father had passed away. I went to therapy. I tried to go through the proper channels to, cope with, my depression, not really understanding it at the time, going through the stages of depression and grief and all that. Um, Dealing with unchanneled anger that I knew nothing about at the time, and still to this day, can learn from. Y- Music was always something that balanced me. It was always, something that kept me above water. And, there was a time in my life where I severely contemplated suicide. And this is what this post is in relation to. And, you know, it, I came close, definitely a couple of times. There was one particular point in my life where I overdosed. I've talked about it on the show here before on the mental health Mondays when I first started all this. There was one particular instance in my life where I overdosed on oxycodone. I literally had, like, I don't know, it was like 13, 14 pills in one day. Well, really in less than one day, in a matter of hours. And as if it was, taking it to the point where it was just like candy, like it didn't matter. And I'm thankful to still, be alive, but I, remember going through that and, you know, um, having that near death experience, and not really not really having a care in the world whether or not I was coming out on a better outcome. um One of those things that helped me, you know survive and just keep on going was always music. I always turned to it. It was that and writing for me. It was something that I just, it that outside of the coping mechanisms that I speak about in this post, which is substance abuse and and yeah, substance abuse and really just depression. But the substance abuse was another coping mechanism. The music certainly was a more positive one, and it was there for me. And it's not only artists like Kid Cudi, but in particular, Kid Cudi was one of them. And when I was younger, around those times, I didn't, have the money. It wasn't even like Kid Cudi. I had to believe he was like touring and shit like that at the time. It was at a time in my life where I was young, and I didn't have the money and or just the care in the world to like actually like go and see him and do the thing. And even him himself, he was at a different time in his life. Now, as far as we know, happily married, doing his thing, trend, becoming the adult of it that he has become, and seeing him on this grand stage performing at Madison Square Garden for the first time, and me being there on the garden floor having a full circle moment with a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine who has gone through his own mental health issues, who I met back in college, who we shared the mutual interest in Kid Cudi. It was just like it was everything. It meant the world to me. It really did, and the performance lived up to the hype. The whole night was just some sort of like therapeutic relief for me in
Sounds
some sort of way.
powerful.
It was. It really was, and I know nobody could ever take that away from me, and nobody will ever truly understand how it was outside of me and my friend for that night, for that moment in time, and it's beautiful. I cried. I cried. I had,
I was gonna ask
yeah.
you.
I mean, no, yeah,
I was
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
ask you, did
definitely.
you cry?
Oh, of course I did. Yeah, I didn't.
No shame.
Not as much as I thought I would. Honestly, I seen Lord Huron a couple of years back, and with my wife, I cried much more. You seeing them, but I think I was just so happy. And it was such a joyful moment. It was, and the vibes and everything. Like it was actually, there was one song in particular that got me to cry for sure. Um, but outside of that, it was really just a celebration, like, and it was nice, like, and that's what it means to me. I don't like it's always meant. That's what music has always done for me, and just to have that moment, it was beautiful. And yeah, I mean, like, I'll segue into the post because that's where it all started with, but that was my inspiration for this post and this topic of the show. And in a lot of ways, again, all it's pointing to is just, raising awareness, because again, suicide and contemplating suicide and unaliving yourself. I know the algorithm doesn't like that word anymore, but I just say it anyway. But you
It's
know,
very real.
it's very real, and it's more prominent in a lot of in a lot of our lives than we think, and we see a lot of celebrity, a lot of common folk, that are, we never know the battles that we're going through, and it's also a reminder to be kind to the person next to you because you really genuinely just never know.
Yeah.
It's why I love my job. I say that a lot here on this show, and it's, I'm being honest when I say it. It's that everyday reminder that this life is not guaranteed, and that you really truly never know what somebody is going through. Um, you have to be mindful of that. Just because you think you're having a bad day, you don't really know what the next person's going through. So it's so easy, and I get it. And to your credit, D, like to your post today, and we'll be talking about that shortly. Um, it's it's a human thing to think that way, right? It's a human thing to just like get stuck in your head and think about the what ifs and feel bad about yourself and get you know be on hard times. But it's that's the human experience. We got to find a way to get rid of that thought process and move forward and understand that that's not being present. These realities may not even come to fruition. That it's just something that we're making up ourselves, and that's the story. It's a problem. Needless to say, let me move on here before I continue on my rant. All right, this is from my post tonight. Now it's a carousel post, which is not something I normally do, which I'm kind of giving it a try out. Seems that you all have liked it. I don't know if it's because of the subject or whatever, but
I like
you know,
it. I think Carousel is good. It tells your story really well, and we get to see pictures of, what you got going on. So it's relatable.
I like the picture idea, and I was talking about it with my wife. I was trying to figure out what pictures to use here, and I was like, I didn't even really like initially this picture, where it was is me and my daughter, sleeping, as we're hiking and all that. I love the picture, but it's because of the subject and when I'm talking, I'm like, ooh, is that weird? But then I thought, you know what? Actually, no, it's more important. It drives home the point
Yeah.
that like, look what I've become. Look at what especially what I'm saying here, which is the first thing that I write in this first picture is when I was younger, they put me in a straitjacket and said I was a detriment to society. And that was 110% true. If you don't know my story, I'll be happy to tell it again. But you could also look back in previous episodes. I believe I gotta check actually. I think it's like mental health with Epis, like episode 3. It's one of the early ones. We're on episode 33 now. But it was one I think I probably talked about it in episode 1. But I have to check. And it's something, that was a huge part of my life that very little people that I associate with now know about. And it's traumatic. It's completely traumatic. Like it's super traumatic. Like it just there is points in that time where people will never truly understand. I mean, I remember, I'll never forget, it's ingrained in my head the image of me in a straitjacket in the back of an ambulance, strapped down, 5-point harness, in a straitjacket with a 5-point
How
harness, as if I'm
how
going
old?
anywhere.
How,
It was 2006, so that was 20 years ago. I am 34 now, so I was 14 years old, right?
we have a lot
14?
in common.
Was
Yeah,
I 14? Yeah.
yeah.
No way. Is the math right on that? Hold on. Is it right? It was 2006, so it was 20 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was 14.
Yep.
Right. So my dad passed away shortly after that. Right. Yeah. He passed away in 2007. So, yeah, I was 14 years old and he passed away in 2007. He literally passed away probably months later after I got out of the, again. So I'm strapped down to, a mind you, I was an EMT for like 4 or 5 years as well. So, talk about full circle. I was strapped down to a stretcher in in a straitjacket with a 5-point harness, going to a mental health facility, some psych ward out in Long Island. I don't even really remember the exact location, to be honest with you, because it was so crazy around that time. All I know is that it was in Long Island, and I'll never forget the burning image in my eyes of looking out the ambulance window in the back of the window and seeing my mom and dad drive behind me in the car. Um, Talk about trauma. All right. Now listen, in a justified way, I deserve to be there. At the time, I understand why they felt the need because it was either that or jail. For me. I'm happy they took that route at the very least, but it was still everything that ensued was the problem. And you know, I'll go on to the next slide and continue the story. They introduced me to pharmaceutical drugs thinking it would help me. When I was in the psych ward, that's the first thing they thought about was to medicate. Now, at that time in my life, I had never actually experienced, like, came across pharmaceutical drugs. I not with my friends. I had started smoking weed and drinking at the age of 13, but I never knew anything about, any pharmaceuticals, whatever. You right? So here comes Adderall. Here comes antidepressants, things like that, Valium, whatever. And it was this huge introduction, to a world I knew nothing about. And I was surrounded by other kids that, again, troubled kids, some maybe that were worthy of being there, that needed to be there, others, arguably, maybe not. Um, and then others that I met that were just like me, that, took a bad path, made a wrong decision along the way, and, ended up there. But it certainly led me. I'm not saying that was the excuse or the reason why, whatever, but I went down the path I went down like years later, but it certainly didn't help because ultimately I feel like if they took a different approach, it could have, led to a different outcome. But I love who I am. I love the journey I've been on, and I don't regret any of this. It's just a part of the journey, right? That's something that I have to acknowledge. The next slide reads: For years, I battled with depression and substance abuse. The drugs were my coping mechanism. I lost my uncle, my father, my godfather, my son, and a number of friends over the years. And you see me a picture when I completed my first ultra marathon. Um, is that my first one or the second one? That's the second one, actually. I'm bugging. Yeah, that's my second ultra marathon, so even more so. That is true. Around that time in my life, especially right after I dealing with that, years prior, my uncle committed suicide, overdose on drugs, all a nice little cocktail of drugs. My grandmother found him dead in the bathroom, bathtub. That was it for him. Loved him to
Oh,
death. My father, years later, died in liver cancer. Even though I never knew him to be a drinker, unfortunately, drank too much in his early days and then eventually caught up to his liver. And he suffered the consequences. My godfather, years later, who was, is the best friend of my father since they were little boys in kindergarten, died of lung cancer years after him. All the men at that time in my life had left my life and in the blink of an eye. All the influential men, all the men that I care about and looked up to. So you can only imagine, what the hell that means. And then this is where the music comes in. There was a time where happiness was a very far off and distant thing for me to acquire, but I made it out of the darkness. I saw the light and I know that my dad is proud of me. All my angels, they're proud of me. Those are the very words of Scott Mescudi, also known as Kid Cudi, from his latest song, Saltwater, off his newest album called um, Free. Okay. And I encourage you to take a listen to it. It's a good one. It's an emotional one. It's a good album too. Probably not his best, but again, it's definitely a moment in my life where even in modern day, Kid Cudi finds a way to like tune in to what the hell I'm going through, and that's what he's always meant to me, and he'll never know it, but truthfully, um, he has made a difference in my life, and it's just crazy because again it makes me feel normal. It makes me feel like I'm not the only one. He lost his father as well. There's so much similarities. It's crazy. Struggled with substance abuse for years. So to have that um, full circle moment for me is important. One of the final slides, I finally climbed out of the darkness and decided to keep moving forward. It's a picture of my daughter and me when we went sledding near our home here in Queens, and a beautiful moment to be a nice little picture that I enjoy. You know, brings me back to a good place, and then and you can too. Give life a chance and change the narrative. And of course, everybody, call 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. And as always, keep showing up. Um, and there you go. That's my post. Tricky Nick, what's going on, bro? Let's go, Knicks. Let's go, Knicks. We're not talking sports tonight, but man, I feel you, baby. It was nice being there at MSG on the Garden. I was where Brunson and all my boys, OG, Cat, doing their thing. I can't wait. I can't wait to be in that building come this finals. Starting Wednesday, everybody. We do have the scoreboard up. I'm always going to keep the scoreboard up for my sports fans out there. Nick says the tickets at the Garden right now. Bro, listen, I know. Don't worry about it, Nick. But I already told the wife, Nick, it's once in a lifetime. I may never have a chance again. So the last time they were in the finals, it was, 27 years ago. All right, I'm 34. The last time they won one was 1973. This might be it for me. I have to go. If I have to take out a loan, a mortgage, I don't know, whatever I got to do, I'll find a way into the building. At least for one game. I'm trying. But I've been looking. I've been paying attention to Ticketmaster constantly, but I haven't seen them post their tickets yet. The secondary market is wild. My mom's was in high school in 73. My mom was in high school in 73. Exactly, bro. That explains it. All right. Thank you for joining us tonight, Nick. Appreciate you. It's a beautiful Mental Health Monday, man. I hope you're doing well. Episode 33 with a good friend, an old friend who, interestingly enough, knew me around that time, but we didn't know too much about each other. We weren't quite in the same circles, but we were constantly hovering around each other around the time, I would say. And
You turned 34 this year?
34, yes, January. Yeah.
Oh, I'm 5 years older than you.
Yeah, I know. We talked about it on the last time I had you. Yeah. You got some years on me there, you know?
But it was the neighborhood, though. Like, we
Right.
all grew up knowing each other, but, at that age, I feel like a lot of us had a lot of crap going on, our own trauma.
For sure. Because of the 5 year gap, it's probably why I'm surprised you didn't connect with my brother at any point because he's 5 years older than me.
I
You
know
know,
who you're talking about, too.
yeah, I'm sure you know my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And Tricky Nick over
again,
here knows my brother. All right, he's the leader of Shiv Nation over here. Zero Sorrow. You definitely have come across my because literally you're the same age. So at some point you had to. I mean, it's mass, but whatever. But
yeah.
yeah, I'm surprised. You didn't hear too much. Did you know any of the stories about me? I didn't tell you all the details, so I don't know.
No. Again, I was going through my own stuff. But back then, when you're kids, like 5 years is a big deal because you were 14 going through that. 2006, I got married, and I had just graduated high
Mm,
school.
wow.
So
How old were you then? You were
I'm
2006.
39,
No, but how old when you got married?
a 19.
That's early. Yeah. How long
Yeah.
were you with
Well,
him for?
not long.
Hmm.
Not long. I'll be totally honest. When you go through things as a kid, um trauma makes you make bad choices, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And that's definitely what it was, and I don't regret any of it because it's brought me to where I am now, and I have great kids.
Yeah. No, and like I said before, I don't regret where I was either. Could I have made better choices? Sure.
Mhm.
But the choices led me to where I am today, and all right. I'm still here. I think that's important because there was times in my life where I didn't think I would be.
But it's
Um,
molded
yeah,
you. You've gotten
for
through so
sure.
far. Think
No, no
about how
doubt.
many people go through a lot of stuff and then they don't ever, reflect or change anything and just continue on that path.
Or about the ones that their lives did end short. I mean, I know quite a few too.
Yeah.
A friend of mine in college, committed, essentially suicide. Overdosed to drugs as well. Um, Loved her to death. And a positive person. But battling those demons. I mean, and there's far too many of those types of stories. I'm sure we all know, and that's why I feel the need to speak about it. It's funny because if I talk to my mother about it, she'll never like understand. It was almost as if like she didn't want to like truly believe what I was going through, and I hid a lot of things from her. She doesn't know half of the things that I did, to truly understand, what I was going through at the time, and because again, she was going through her own,
Right.
death of a husband, not knowing what to do. She was a widow, it was tough. Um, I can only imagine, what that would feel like. I mean, losing my wife now, I mean, oh God, I can never. Especially with, the three little ones I have under our roof now. And oh, it would break me. I don't know. I really, truthfully, I don't know, um, how I would be able to handle something like that. And, my mom had me and my brother at a pivotal time in our lives. She was virtually a housewife for a very long time. Worked odd jobs here and there, but ultimately was home taking care of us and doing her thing, and did a damn good job of it. I could be critical in some aspects of it, but ultimately my mom was a good mom. It was a neighborhood mom. Everybody coming over to the house. Everybody loved my mom. She wasn't always the greatest mom. you know, Only it wasn't always the morally correct mother, but it certainly was a good mother. And to be in that type of position, I can only imagine. It would kill me. Um, so looking back on my life, I don't regret a damn thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. It's my journey. I'm happy with it. I truly am. And every step that I get a chance to, keep trying to rewrite that narrative and or just better myself, it's a beautiful day. I may not always look at it that way. I may always look at it a day after a long day after work, but man, screw this shit. But that's the human in me, right? I think it's not always easy. It's not always easy. D,
Yes.
how about your video? Let's you want to preface this? I've talked enough here. I had 45 minutes to the opening, so it's on you,
Um,
babe. Let's go. I got your video ready and queued up.
do you want to
Uh,
play the video and then we can talk about it after? It's basically about surrender and how it's an important thing. A lot of people think surrender means that we're giving up and it means that you're being weak, but it's really coming to a realization that you can't control everything and it's okay to just allow yourself to be. As hard as that can be sometimes, it's it's a lifesaver. So you can play the video.
let's play.
Hey, so today I want to talk about the concept of surrender. I think a lot of us were taught that forcing and controlling, overanalyzing, overthinking, and preparing for every possible outcome is necessary in order to stay safe and to thrive. So a lot of us stay stuck in our heads trying to prevent pain and rejection and disappointment. But when we're constantly doing that, all of that mental tension keeps the body in survival mode. And the truth is, not everything is meant to be controlled. Some things are meant to be trusted through. So the idea of surrender is not about giving up. It's releasing the belief that your fear and overthinking can control your life and therefore the outcome. It's learning to say, I will handle what's in front of me, but I cannot carry every possible outcome before it happens. And if you're trying to move more into surrender, I suggest that you start small.
Laggy on my side.
Notice when your mind starts spiraling into what ifs,
Yeah, not
and
surprised. There's
pause
a
and
little
ask
bit
yourself,
of
is this
delay.
something that I can actually take care of right now? If the answer is no, bring yourself back to the present moment. Breathe, ground yourself in what is actually happening and not what your fear is predicting. Surrender can look like resting without guilt, asking people for support, letting people show up for you, and accepting that uncertainty is part of being human. It's part of life. Peace doesn't come from controlling everything. Sometimes peace comes from actually loosening your grip and trusting yourself to move through life one moment at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Facts.
So today,
All right. Definitely give yourself a chance to breathe and be present. It's a powerful message, truthfully, D. Um, and I love the videos you do. If you haven't, please go check her out. All right, what's I got it right here. Hold on. Yeah, same thing, same handle on YouTube, just as you see it on the screen there. Deastol, D Astol. Check her out on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, right? Um,
Yes.
TikTok too? No.
No, we don't do TikTok.
Yeah, we don't. I don't do TikTok either, right? I was, especially after the U.S. yeah, took control over that. I used to do TikTok, but not anymore.
I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, I didn't really care for it either. I just started doing it because I was in the content creating space, so I was like, screw
Yeah.
it, why not? Nick, love you, man. I know I'm trying to get Zero back on. Just for you, Nick. And I was thinking about it. I might have Zero on a mental health show. I think he's actually got to come on because I've never had him on. I've done 33 episodes now, and I've never had my brother on a show. I don't know
Oh,
why. I don't know why.
is that your brother, Zero?
That's my brother Zero. That's my guy. He's a big time streamer. He's the reason why I even got into the streaming. He
Oh,
started, but
cool.
he's been away from it. He's currently he currently moved to Jersey from PA, and he's in this transitional move right now. And he's just been MIA. He's not streamed. He used to stream video games and just stream other stuff as well. Game nights, things like that. Had an established community going on in the Twitch community, all that, in Discord. He has his community as well. And, he's off doing his own thing. So I think I need to bring him back on and get him on the show. I think that would be awesome. Maybe he could come on with you and me, actually. That would, I think he would,
That would be cool.
he'll have us talking for hours. So Nick, just for you, he says I'll bug Zero right now. Like, well, I'm sure he's available. Actually, if he's not like doing DoorDash right now, he's probably. I could probably tell him pop in the Discord, pull up his face right now. He probably would. I just seen him too. I had lunch with him on Saturday before the Cuddy concert. I met up with him in Jersey. But
That's cool.
but yeah. So in regards to your video, again, I'll touch on it real quick. Then I want to hear your thoughts on it. But I mean, and the most impactful thing really for me that I take away from is really just taking a moment and to breathe and to realize that control what you can control. There's can you change anything in the present moment? If not, then okay. Like one thing at a time. I've learned, in my most difficult times, especially in a work situation, like even today, where everything's chaotic. There's 50 million things going on around you. Like, USA, just breathe a little bit, take it in, and okay, one thing at a time. It will get done, and you'll weather the storm, and that's you can apply that to any facet of life, and that was my takeaway. I would like to hear your thoughts on, why, what went into making the video and what spurred, just the whole idea of it.
So surrender's been like a theme of my life for the past couple of weeks, and somebody like me who's dealt with anxiety and panic attacks in the past, it's really hard to surrender, to just accept what is going on, because you
Mm.
always want to try and control the outcome. And if you don't, it makes the anxiety worse. So it's been something that's been an ongoing thing that I've been trying to practice. Mindfulness really does help, but I often ask myself in the moment, like, can I do anything about this right now? And if the answer is no, I have to just, console myself and
Mm.
just accept that this is what it is right now. I can't control it, and if I keep trying, I'm first of all not going to get anywhere. Second, I'm going to exhaust myself. I'm going to keep myself stuck in this, this survival feeling. And it, so it's just been something that I'm really practicing right now, especially with some things in my life that I'm going through legally. You can't
Hmm.
really do have a lot of control in situations like that. And my grandmother's health is not doing too well. Another thing you can't really control. And it's it's been helpful, I'm gonna say. I don't know if I can bring it up, but like, I personally have a belief in a higher being, you
Hmm.
know and that really helps me also. I know that sometimes we can't always do. We're human beings, right? We just got to be sometimes, and let, that higher power kind of just go with it.
Meta, yes, this is a mental health channel. Thank you for joining us, Meta. Appreciate you. Please, please follow if you haven't already. We try to do it a weekly show. This is actually the first time I'm having a good friend of mine, Deanna, on the show as a new co-host. So I appreciate you. I'm a trained accredited therapist in the UK. Well,
Awesome.
nice.
Cool.
Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. I am not a trained accredited therapist, but my friend here does, does
I
practice.
support, yeah, I support women, infants, and children, families, emotionally and mentally. I also use energy work. That's probably my biggest modality, to help people with their nervous system. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Yeah, in terms of me, I started this channel. I started this podcast. I've been doing it for a little while now, a couple of years, and truthfully, it's just me speaking off my experiences. Big topic of tonight's show has been my journey out of the darkness. Coming to face with potential suicide. Nearly not nearly overdosing. Coming through that. Dealing with the loss of loved ones over the years, battling substance abuse and depression, being thrown into a psych ward, what have you. I can go on and on and on. I was telling my wife, D, I might have to write a book. I don't know. I don't know if
Do
anybody would
it.
care. I don't know if
I
anybody would
would.
care, but I think I have enough to like and write something. I don't know what it's gonna mean to people. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the overall, but it's just my journey and my experience, and it's like, hey, I'm still here and trying to
You
make it
could
all
call it
happen.
Keep
And
Showing Up.
I mean, that's been the mantra of the show,
I
since
love it.
yeah,
I
that's the
love it.
thing.
Even when
Absolutely.
you surrender, you can keep showing up. It's just
Right.
accepting the peace, you know what I mean? And allowing something greater to happen for you.
I agree. I agree. I don't know. It's just been the journey that I've been on. It's the reason why I started this show. It was a way. It was a form of therapy for me. I mean, I did years for therapy. I was never, against it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. But I think there was things outside of therapy that I had to face and come to terms with myself. And it took me a while. I went through a lot of ups and downs, a lot of trial and error. I think the thing that changed everything was having kids for me. I don't know about you,
Same.
D. Yeah, right. It when I had Dylan for the first time, I knew that it was immediate. Like the substance abuse, generally, it took a little bit, but it went out the window. Like I wasn't all the hardcore drugs. I mean, there was a time in my life I was doing cocaine. I'm doing ecstasy. I'm doing Adderall. oxycodone, as I mentioned before, overdosing on 13 pills in one day. I mean, it was just like whatever I could take, I would take. Outside of heroin, I would. It was the only heroin. Well, oxycodone is synthetic heroin, so I wouldn't necessarily say that. But I would never willingly inject heroin into my arms. That was the one thing I wouldn't do. I smoked crack once. That was terrible.
Oh my
I didn't know I was smoking crack, but I ended up smoking crack. It was not good.
So
Uh,
let me ask you, did you use drugs before that whole episode with going to the psych ward, right? Did you use drugs for an escape, like
oh
from
yeah, I
things
mean
that were going on? Yeah.
it was the coping mechanism, like I mentioned
Yeah.
in that post earlier. Yeah,
Yeah.
um, that was it. Because it was fun to get high. You know,
Yeah.
it was fun to get high, and at the time in my life, it was either. It was weird. It was either I was gonna become the next baseball star, or I was nothing. Do you get what I'm saying by that? Like that's how, and it was almost that was the lasting impression. Like I felt through my parents. Like when my dad passed away, especially, I think he always had it in his mind that I could be a professional baseball player, and my mom too. And it's crazy. She didn't necessarily help that dream stay alive because of the certain actions that she did. And again, I mentioned that earlier. I don't necessarily blame her. She was coping with the loss of her husband, and just trying to piece it together herself. I used to blame her for a lot of it, when I was younger, but as I grew into an adult, I realized, she was just doing the best she could. I don't feel like I'm making an excuse for her. I just truly believe that. You know, and for me, that was it. It was really that was like all I really ever cared about. And other than that, it was like, I'm just here living day by day, living in the moment, but not in a good way. It was, truly living for today and not caring about tomorrow. Um, Now I care about tomorrow, but I try to live for today. Like it's, and my actions say differently. And it's been my journey now, now that I'm, running marathons, ultra marathons, trying to better myself, trying to just, achieve the impossible in the way I see it. Um, Even doing this show, how far I've come with this, how far it has come. I'm not monetizing off of it by any means at this moment, although I would like to. But it's been something that's just been a part of my journey and something that I'm proud of and I enjoy doing and I want to continue to do. It's made me who I am, and I feel I'm a better person for it. I don't know. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but
It does. I just want to say, I know like we haven't connected a lot in,
yeah,
lately, but I'm proud of you, especially hearing, your story, and I can relate to some of it myself, and I see you running and being a good dad, and I, so much, I commend you definitely.
thank you. Meta says, my biggest piece of advice I give to my clients is just don't worry about it. We all get upset in sad times. I mean, that's a fact. No doubt about it. It's a human experience, or it's a human thing to get upset and sad. I mean, that's
Yes. I
right.
think compassion is real, like compassion for yourself is so important with things
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to do what you're saying right now and be like, yes, this is the human experience. I don't feel so good right now, but
Hmm.
I actually talked to my son recently about that. We had a conversation because he's very like negative focused. He wants to
Hmm.
think about everything that's not going his way, and I'm like, well, what about this and this and this and this? And he's like,
Right.
oh, and it's like just try to pivot. I know there are bad things. We all have our bad things, but you have so many other blessings.
You gotta shift that perspective,
Yeah.
right? Perspective is key. I say that a lot too. Yeah, I mean, perspective is definitely key, like you said. That's why again, I love my job, love what I do because truthfully, I think I'm having a bad day. Then I turn around, I'm like, oh shit, well, this person has stage 4 cancer, and tomorrow is truly for them not promised. And it's like, okay, then I already snap back to reality. I'm like, all right, hey, things ain't so bad. It's all right. I'm okay. Like we'll get, yeah, I'm alive. I have something to look forward to. Like it's very simple in the simplest ways, simplest terms. Um, it's a mindset a lot of the times. It
Yeah.
truthfully is. It's a mindset. But to fall victim to that human way of thinking, it's understandable. It's important,
Yeah.
and that's why we talk about these things because it's so relatable and it's so. We don't. Not enough people talk about it. Not enough men talk about this.
Yes,
You know.
100%.
Um, that's why it's important for me. That's why I don't know. I'm at this point in my life where I feel like I care more about this than talking about the sports. I love my sports talk and all that, and I always love it. But because it means so much to me, and truthfully, I know there's so many people going through it that shy away from the conversation, and when in reality they should join in and be a part of it. I don't know. It's more impactful to me. It's more meaningful to me, and even if it's just one person like Meta joining us tonight, um, and sticking around for the conversation, it means the world. So I
This is
appreciate
so
you. Yeah,
important.
yeah,
Definitely
absolutely.
important. And it's not easy to be vulnerable. So another commandment. But yeah, and like you said, no, men need that. They need to see that it's okay, to talk about these hard things, and that there are other people that are just like them and have gone through similar situations. And they have support, because I do know a lot of men who feel like they're alone, and
Hmm. Hmm.
nobody cares.
Right. What I wanted to bring back up a subject I mentioned earlier. Because again, it's something that I don't think we've ever really truly discussed, and I'm interested. I touched on a little bit there. Musically,
Oh,
are you a big music fan? Has music mattered to you in some sort of a therapeutic way? Like, what's your take on it? I'm interested. I have no idea, and this is new
yes,
for the listeners as well.
music was definitely a big part of my life, especially as a teenager and a young teenager, like going through everything that I was going through. I didn't quite listen to Kid Cudi. I was more of the alternative type. I liked
Well, I listen to
Sting and
everything, so you. Oh, yeah, okay.
Coldplay. Linkin Park was really good back then when
Yeah,
I
well,
was
Lincoln
feeling
Park,
down.
Hybrid Theory, forget about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it got me through a lot, and a lot of the times I felt like I wasn't good enough and that I was alone. So listening to music, like you said, certain lyrics really, like, it was almost like I was singing them, you know what I mean? Or somebody
Right.
was really feeling what I was feeling. So it helped me feel more understood. But I have to say, as I've gotten older, music is not that big for me
Hmm.
anymore. Not so much in the lyric sense like it was as a kid, but now I use it more like with energy work,
Mm-hmm.
because it
Mm-hmm.
helps me in that way. Like certain things I'll listen to help myself calm down, or I use music in the house all the times when there's a funk going on with the kids or
Mm-hmm.
people are in bad moods, and it definitely changes things. So um I
That's
don't listen to it the
interesting.
same way that I used to, but it's definitely still a big part of my life.
What do you for give me an example of what do you put on to get the kids in a good mood?
Let's see. Lately with my daughter, it's been a few of the K-pop songs.
Okay, okay, that's
Okay.
fine. Yeah. Of course,
There's a
Maeve
couple
loves it
of
too. Yeah, for sure.
it gets her in a good mood.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
anything really. Sometimes it'll be movie soundtracks,
Ooh,
or older songs that I used to listen to, or like my parents used to listen to, like classic rock type of stuff.
like
And
what? Like what? I want to know. Give me an example. I love all music, so I believe me, I will know what you're talking about.
oh my
If you
goodness.
have an example, like all right, like You want to hear my favorite movie score of all time?
All
All
right,
right.
go ahead.
I don't even think you want to take a guess.
No, I'm not
Uh,
good at that.
all right, my favorite all time. All right, I mean, like this song needs to be played at my funeral, and I'm not even joking about that. Like I told my wife, it better be played at my funeral. Like people better be mourning over my body, and they're gonna hear this song. Come on, that's also very big for me, by the way. Funerals and music has to happen. All right, it's very key. I was the person that created the soundtrack for my father and my godfather for their funerals.
Really?
Yes, I put together a whole CD for both of them.
Wow.
In fact, my godfather loved, the song "Who Let the Dogs Out" by Baha Men. You know that? You remember that one? You know?
Tell me you played that.
Oh yeah, at his funeral, and it was so funny that like one of like his family members like yelled at me like we can't play this. I'm like, nah, fuck you. He wanted this. He told me he wanted this. In fact, like, so we're playing it. So my favorite musical score of all time, I think it's original soundtrack, like original movie. All right, it's the original Willy Wonka. Okay, pure imagination.
I'm with you. And that's
All
so
right.
funny because this last week I've been singing that with my little one.
Oh my God.
It's so funny. It take music is really powerful. Like it changes moods. It's so relatable.
Hmm.
It's amazing.
Me and my daughter have been bonding over it. She calls it chocolate music. Yeah, can we put on the chocolate music?
Love it. I love it.
And oh man, like that song to me, truthfully, like just the whole lyrics. I mean, if anybody out there you never heard the song, I mean, like you got I don't know if you lived under a rock, but if you've never seen the original Willy Wonka, and you've heard that score, I mean, the words of that are just it's beautiful, and it's actually like a part of my intro to the mental health with Epis. You see that little clip of Wonka walking down the stairs, introducing everybody to the chocolate factory. There's a reason why I put that in little subtle messages here and there in the intro. There, it's very strategical with that. Yeah, it's got to be played at my funeral, and I don't know. It's just a feel good song for me that in a bad point in my life and a good point in my life, it can really just bring me to just a joyous place and a happy place. And I don't know. I guess when people are mourning my death, I want them to feel that way, and that's it.
It's a feel good song.
Yeah, yeah. I want them to feel inspired and just like life is full. I don't know. Like it's just there. So I loved also a lot of other songs from that soundtrack. Like the Candyman is just a classic, but
Yes.
like, you know. Also, I think also I think what's his name from is it oh god, is it the bear? The bear? Is it that
The bear?
the bear, that cooking show? What's his name? The main character from Shameless. Oh, what's his damn name? I
Oh, I don't
can't.
know.
Yeah, he should play Gene Wilder. Oh man, you never watched the show Shameless?
I'll be honest with you, I do not watch TV.
That's interesting. We
Yeah.
gotta talk about that. Um, I don't watch too much either, but I know enough. Why is it not? You'd think that would be a really quick search, but apparently not. Is it Lip Gallagher? Yeah. Oh, no, yeah. That's right. Jeremy Allen White. I don't know if you've ever seen, you had to have seen Jeremy Allen White. I'll pull it up right now, a picture of this guy.
Okay.
But he should literally play Willy Wonka. This has no relation to the topic of what we're talking about tonight. But he should play, if there's ever a remake of the original Willy Wonka, he should
Did
be
you
it.
not see the Timothy
Yes, I
Chalamet?
did. I like it. It was good. It was not like the original. And it was
Not
very
at
good.
all.
And we liked that one too. And I liked the soundtrack. It was good. It was all right. I'm not gonna lie. It was better than the other
Oh,
Wonka movie.
okay. I've seen him.
It was better than the other Wonka movie. What was that other one? With Johnny Depp. I hated that one. You see that? I couldn't stand it. Terrible. Throw it away. Should have never existed. This one with Jeremy Allen White, very good, very good. And it told the story of Wonka a little bit better. And the other one was weird. I didn't like anything about it. But Jeremy Allen White, he looks like was it Gene Wilder, I believe, yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like Gene Wilder, and I just think, oh look, there's even a comparison. Yeah. Look, all that. Look at that. I like the minute I looked that up. There you go. There's the two faces back to back. Tell me not. That would be like the old time
That would be perfect.
picture, right? Like but he should remake the original. Like,
Yes.
don't change it. Remake the original. Like modernize it a little bit, but stay true to that. I think that would be great
Wow.
someday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at them.
That's what I'm saying. I think
Doppelganger, right?
that's what I'm
Or-
saying. I think it would be great. It would be the role of a lifetime. Like when he gets older, though, not now. Like in 20 years from now, when because he's already had a phenomenal career. I love Jeremy Allen White. He's done great stuff. You know,
I love Gene Wilder. He
and
he
Gene,
was so
Gene,
good. Yeah.
Gene, Gene was great. Yeah, there's so much to unpack from that original Willy Wonka that he did. He did so much stuff with Richard Pryor. Big friends with him. Love them. Yeah, just crazy. Storied career, amazing. Who knew that was going to be a topic of conversation tonight? There you go. I do want to mention one thing before I go and before we get out of here tonight. We're not quite done yet, but while I still have your attention, thank you. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It's your boy Matty B. Deanna Astol. Episode 33 of Mental Health with Epis here on Epis Radio Entertainment. Yeah, hit it, baby! Look at that. Deanna's got the soundboard over here and everything. The debut. I love it. Let me sip a little bit of my coffee here.
It should be happy, right? I mean, it shouldn't be all about doom and gloom. Everything
No.
we've been through, and we can still smile and be grateful for all the things that we have. So grateful for that.
Yeah, I mean, if it was doom and gloom all the time, I mean, goddamn, what's the point of being here? I don't know. We gotta, it's okay to point out the doom and gloom, but we gotta keep, moving forward, be positive,
Yes.
and
Keep showing up.
keep showing up. Damn straight. All right, listen. For me, it's all about and keep showing up for me. Since I decided a couple of years ago to start the show here and start streaming live on Twitch and YouTube and all that, and my journey running and my fitness journey, the whole nine. And a big part of that, a culmination of all that, has really come to fruition lately. And I wanted to just spread the word and let you guys know a little bit about what's going on. I have made these official announcements on social media, and I talked about it on 2 episodes ago. Was it 2 episodes or last episode? I think it was last episode, actually. But if you haven't heard, it is official. I will be running in this year's New York City Marathon, sponsored by New Balance, representing the Bronx Burners, non-profit organization who raises money for scholarship funding. They have mentorship programs, SAT prep, the whole nine, and they host a weekly run club in the South Bronx, right in front of Yankee Stadium at Joseph Yancey Park on the track, or Joseph Yancey track, excuse me, which they're also trying to spearhead a campaign and start a petition. Well, they've already started the petition to rebuild Joseph Yancey track, and I will be there actually Wednesday in support of that mission, and also go for a workout and hang out with my fellow burners. I encourage you, if you're able, whether you're young, you're old, doesn't matter. Um, Come hang out, support, come run. Doesn't matter what speed you're at, all the nine. Just bring your legs, bring some shoes, and have a positive mindset and be ready to change community and be a part of community. That's all these people are doing. Um, Please, if you can, the link is in my bio on Instagram and Facebook. If you can donate to my fundraiser, the minimum fundraising goal for me this year is $4,000 in support of the Bronx Burners and their mission to raise money for scholarships. I will be actually meeting with some of the kids who will be benefiting off the scholarship program. I can't wait to just be more involved, be a part of it, and raise money throughout the next couple of months in pursuit of my goal to not only help out in the community, but to run this year's New York City Marathon with a purpose. So please, if you can, support. No donation is too small. All right, check the link there. And here's a little video just to get you a little hyped up about it if you haven't seen it already. So I've been keeping a little secret from you, but now it's time to let you know what that secret is. You ready? Ta-da! I will officially be running in this year's New York City Marathon, sponsored by New Balance, with the wonderful non-for-profit organization, the one and only, the Bronx Burners. I can't begin to express how grateful I am for this opportunity to be a part of something that's bigger than myself, to raise money for an organization, a charity that is doing so many good things, which I will speak about going forward in the next couple of months. But man, the dreams really come true. This has been years in the making, and finally I will get to toe the line with my fellow runners come November in New York City. New York City, here I come. What can I say? Keep showing up, everybody. Oh! Sizzle reel!
Crap out of it.
Come on, look at him, look at him. Look at that shot in front of Yankee Stadium, isn't that? Look at him. Oh! I'm feeling myself a little bit, Dale. I'm sorry. There you go.
a little
Right. Nah, that was fun, I gotta say. I don't know. Maybe a little bit cringeworthy there. I don't really care, honestly.
I heard cringe is authenticity.
I guess so. Truthfully, for me, it was. I mean, that was dope. I didn't plan that. They had planned the whole film thing, and I was a part of it, obviously. So to get those types of shots, I was very excited, and I'm like, all right, how do I use this? How do I use this as a coming out announcement or something like that? And I've learned to edit it over the years, so I pieced together something. I'm like, all right, cool, and I'm excited to make more content going forward, and really, like I said in that video, talk more about what the Bronx Burners do, and really get more involved, and really, a lot of my content is going to be, focused in on that. So I'm excited, for where the direction in which my content is headed, and hopefully I could get some people on that I've met already. I've met quite a few people. I gotta say, just amazing people doing amazing things. It's really intimidating, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I feel like I as if I don't belong in this space, and the hands that I'm shaking with, the shoulders I'm rubbing, it's kind of inspiring, and not kind of, it is inspiring. And it makes me want to do more. It makes me want to be a part of more, and it's bigger than myself. That's what it's starting to feel like.
That's
You know,
beautiful.
I had entered this, on the sole desire to just run the New York City Marathon. I didn't think that there was going to be opportunity outside of that, just expanding who I am as a person and trying to make an impact in my community, which is not really something that I ever truly like considered or even considered that I had time for.
Right.
And now it's like, no, you do actually have time for that. Like you can make that a difference. Like or again, it's just it's what I prioritize my time with. So I'm excited. I'm excited for what the next months are gonna bring. For me and just who I am for this channel and all that. Because again, I truthfully I want to bring some people on here. I hope they're willing to come on and be a part of it. And, we'll see where it goes. And again, at its core, it's about bringing people together. It's about building community and surrounding myself with other like-minded people like yourself, D. And I thank you for coming on tonight and doing this and being an official co-host to the show, The Mental Health with Epis. I've had my co-host on the sports show W Dubois. Uh, for the beginning of time since the inception of the show, and now to have you, um, yeah, I hope you want to join me. You want to stick
Yes.
around,
I
and
feel honored to be here, really.
she's
I really
probably like,
do.
"Nah, I'm good.
No,
This is it for me."
I'm community is also something that I'm seeking, and I'm
Mm.
realizing that sometimes you got to make it yourself, you know?
Well, you definitely got to seek it. That's what I'm
Yes.
finding. It's not always gonna find you. You really gotta kind of take the initiative and move forward, and especially in this type of space, the mental health space. It's not something that people are comfortable with. You really
Hmm.
gotta get hands on. You really gotta seek others out and and make yourself vulnerable. I mean, like doing a post like I did today is very vulnerable. I mean, one thing before we go tonight, which is interesting, I was looking at the early statistics of that particular post that I mentioned
Hmm.
earlier in the show. And again, if you guys are just watching now or you're coming in late to the live, check it out. My previous post. Maybe you know what? I'll even pull up the first tab for you now, just so you guys get an idea. While I have it here, I'm looking at it. But the vulnerability it takes to like write something like this for me is huge. And I noticed on some of the early statistics that were coming through, because Instagram does a good job in providing you insight on certain statistics. And if you pay attention, it actually tells a story. It's doing well in the likes department in regards to like comparison to like most of my other posts. But what I've noticed is there's a lot of shares. Like, people are sending this post to other people. There's
Relatable.
movement, but there's probably more shares in compared to the ratio of likes. So people aren't necessarily liking it, but they're spreading the word. Why? I don't necessarily know. Could be a lot of reasons, right? There's a lot of one of the reasons would probably be relatable, no doubt. Could be a lot of judgment too going on. I don't know. you know, I'm not gonna like sit here and speculate, but it's just very interesting to me to see that. How it's not always that way. And because of the topic of discussion, especially with the first slide, yeah, it does like make me think a little like, oh, why? It's interesting to see that. Why is there more activity there in that particular department compared to other videos or other posts. Like yeah, I just did a happy anniversary post yesterday for my wife 5 year anniversary. Um, did well, whatever, but like in terms of the insights, I don't believe it's anywhere near that high, so I don't know. What do you make of that? And I don't want to read too much into it judgmental wise, but it's like like you said, relatable. Outside of that, what do you think?
I don't think it's negative at all.
Yeah.
And I think that if there is judgment going on, it's more of like a projection kind of thing, because what you're speaking on is something that a lot of people can't admit to themselves
Mm,
or talk out loud about. I find the same thing with my content. When I'm talking mostly about my story, I get a
mhm.
lot of that, even like shares, a lot of comments. And then when it's more general and I'm just talking about, mental health in general, it's not the same. It doesn't get the same message across. People
Yeah.
want to know that you are like them, I don't
Yeah.
think it's negative.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't really. I've come to the understanding. I try not to read too much into it, but it is interesting to see the statistics when it's that in stark contrast. So I'm like, all right, there's something there, and I guess you're right. It's probably be that relatable factor.
Mhm.
Um, and I certainly like this. Like I said, at the top of the show, I did like that idea, that post. I think, outside of just the general, posting of the reels all the time, it's like a little bit of a switch up. And honestly, it's a great excuse to use some of my photography. I have so many photos that I've taken over the years that I've never shared. And I'm just like, no, I got to start using some of this stuff. And I love writing
Yeah,
too, so it's both,
it, it
Yeah.
gives you a little bit of a chance to get creative on how you tell your story instead of
Yeah.
just like a talking head. I get
Right.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely I'm encouraged by it. I'm encouraged, at the prospect of it. So I think, yeah, I'm definitely gonna maybe even for the mental health Monday weeklies. I like this. I mean, it seems like people liked it. So I don't know. I gotta find what works for me. But again, it's not always what just works. It's what inspires me, and I that's how I go. That's how I operate, man. I go on a week to week basis a lot of the times with this stuff. It really has to speak to me. If it doesn't speak to me, I'm not gonna do it. I don't like just doing shit for like clicks and likes. I never did.
Same.
If I could create content all the time, like stupid content. It's just not what I want to do. So
Yeah.
it really has to speak to me. Otherwise, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, as much as I would like, more followers or whatever, more traction on, my with my algorithm, whatever it is. Again,
Yeah.
I got to be me at the end of the day, so that's what matters most. But that's
Yeah.
it.
I struggle with that a bit too.
You'll
Like
get
having
better. You'll get better with it.
I want to
Truthfully.
keep up with it, but it's also like, what are my priorities? That can wait. And if my body is not feeling
Mm,
up to it, I'm not gonna do it.
that's huge. That's huge because I feel that too. Like, as much as I want to do a lot of the things I want to do in the content space right now, it's like I gotta, focus on my priorities and with the kids, with life, just everything that I'm trying to balance.
I feel like uh, it's just one thing to say too about like your sense of community. I think it's really important not just to have community online. Like a lot of people think they're part
Mm,
of things online. That
mm.
in-person community is so important.
Yeah, it's probably most important.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's like, okay, well, maybe I'm not posting something for the internet to see, but I'm connecting with people around me, and that's where it really matters.
that certainly, I would say matters much more. In fact, yeah, I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
don't need to be. I have the space I do have online because I enjoy doing it. But outside of that, it's not end all be all. I actually don't need it. It's not required, of me. It's it's just another platform. It's another way of building community for
Mm-hmm.
me. Because otherwise, I mean, listen, I understood the generation before me of, hey, you just go outside and, be with your friends, find your friends. Yeah, it's very long way from the days of MySpace and AOL where we were just starting to connect online. I mean, I remember the days where, I didn't have a cell phone and,
Yeah.
it just went outside and, we did whatever. We connected on a different level. There's less and less of that these days.
I yeah, I miss that a lot. I think actually I reflect on that a lot.
Yeah. But I think there's going to be a reversal. I do. And I think you're already starting to see the newer generation do that. You've seen arranged gatherings where there's no tech, no phones, things like
Yes.
that, where just people are intentionally meeting up with the intention to socialize, which is awfully interesting because we used to just do that naturally. Now there's an organized meeting in order to do so,
In order,
which is
yes.
cool. Which is cool.
Whatever
Which is
you gotta
absolutely
do
right.
to get it done, right?
No doubt about it. And I support it. I really do. It's actually weird to me now because it's like, I don't know, that seems like weird and shady. But, we used to do it just randomly, back in the day. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's a beautiful thing. The more you can stray away, from the tech, as much as I would like to have people come join us virtually, hang out in the comments, come on the show, talk, there is a need to shut all of it off and just go outside and speak and enjoy your time and listen to nature. I mean, nature has always been a thing for me.
Yes,
You
me
know,
too.
you know. I do
We should.
you enjoy hiking? I was about to say
I love
I've
it. I
seen you
love
do it
it.
quite a bit.
I
Yeah,
love it.
I've
I
seen it with
do.
the kids.
That's
Yeah.
another thing I do with my kids, and I don't know. Since I do energy work, that's all I see things as is
Mm.
like energy work, like the beach, going hiking. It that is one huge thing that I have to do for my mental health. Like I'll tell my kids like I need to go sit out in the park today, or I mean whatever I can get, you know what I mean? It helps me a lot.
I completely understand. I mean, my wife knows. It's me in the mountains. I tell her like, okay, I need to leave. I need to go to the
Mhm.
mountains. Like I need to, like I literally say it, the mountains are calling me, and it's not like, oh yeah, you just no. I like truthfully,
I think if you get it, you get it, and if you
you know,
don't, you don't. You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's one of those things.
Well,
But
if you've
yeah,
ever experienced the mountains, then you get it. It's
yeah,
those people that have never experienced the mountains, they just don't get it. And I tell them, and they just don't understand. And I'm like, okay,
yeah,
like when you get above tree line and you're up there by yourself, yeah, you get it. Believe me.
yeah.
All right. Just say, I mean, for me, it means the world. Um, as much as I love running, there's no better feeling than that for me. And I want to experience all of it. I love the mountains. I try to, get out there and wherever they are as much as I can. I wish I could do more of it, truthfully. But I know there'll be a time in
Same.
my life where I will do more of it. So that's okay too. Um, I'm the type of person, I'll go to Mount Everest. I will. I like in a heartbeat. It's not. I'll hike the
That's
Himalayas.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure I will do it one day. In fact, yeah, like totally to base camp. Yeah, that's going to happen. Whether or not I summit Everest, I don't know. I do want to though. There's a lot of logistics that get involved with it. It's money. It's a lot of
Yeah, it's a big
craziness. Yeah,
deal.
yeah, it's a big deal.
It is.
But that is something that's on my bucket list. But yeah, I mean, you and me for sure. I'm down. Listen,
I was just gonna say the same thing.
you don't gotta tempt me with a good time. I'll, I'm always down to go some hiking. And it could be a family affair. It could just be you and me, whatever. We could have multiple
That sounds
outings. It's cool.
awesome.
I've been even considering potentially um doing my own guided hike for the first time. I was gonna potentially maybe arrange that and looking into what it takes to do that, and
We're on the
or just
same wavelength
yeah,
because I was just thinking if you could maybe make a group, that would be
yeah.
awesome.
No, I think, and because I love it, I've been doing it so much. Like I know where probably like I know a couple of spots where I'm super confident in doing that in, and I could do a group of like 15 to 20 people confidently, no problem.
That'd be awesome.
And educate and make sure everybody's safe and sound, and yeah, I think that would be cool, to do. I don't know, and I don't know if I could like even if I'm not like making money off it, whatever, just the fact that I could do that, I thought, this new run club that I joined now, I thought that would be a great way to spend some more time with them. So maybe I was, thinking about, reaching out to them as well and seeing if anybody would be interested, which
You
I'm
know
sure they would, So yeah.
what I love about hiking is that it's not just like I'm not a runner. I'm
Hmm.
not.
Yeah,
I that to me sounds like work and not a mental
yeah.
break for me. Now, don't get me wrong, I totally understand that that is for some people, just not for me. When it
Yeah, yeah,
comes to
for sure.
hiking, like you don't have to be overdoing it or going crazy with your body to enjoy it and really have it do something for you.
Hmm.
And
No, no doubt. Yeah, you can easily casual hike, little stroll in the park. That's
yeah,
all it takes. You know what I'm saying? It
yeah.
doesn't take much. You don't need to be summiting mountains and shit. There's like nice little trails you can do it and still get that same, well, I guess it's a dopamine hit, right? Like, whatever it is, however it benefits you neurologically with that, like you'll still get that same benefit. You'll still get that same feel. I mean, the second you're amongst the trees, it all just feels better. I mean, it's natural medicine in itself. Truthfully,
There's
I
a
believe that. Yeah.
term, there's actually a term called forest bathing.
Mm,
It's a Japanese thing. It's called Shinrin Yoku.
okay.
It's a practice of processing therapeutic relaxation where one spends time in the forest. It's
Nice.
really it's all about sensory engagement. Instead of, letting your mind go, you're feeling the wind, you're
Right.
feeling the
Right.
sun. It's like that. It's really awesome.
And that's so true too, because it's how I like to take it in. A lot of people, I see a lot of people, a lot of what are we call day trippers in the hiking community, and they're not necessarily avid hikers. They're people that like the idea of hiking, that want to get a glimpse of nature, and they day trip from the city, the burbs, wherever it is they are, and they get their touch of nature. And I think a lot of times they don't really enjoy what nature has to offer. And
Hmm.
a lot of people come in there, bringing their speakers and blasting music, things like that, and just not,
Scrolling on phones. I've seen it
right.
myself. I don't understand it. I'm
Yeah,
just like, I'm coming out here to get away from this. Why are you
exactly.
bringing it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, like when I'm out there, generally, I don't ever look at my phone ever. Like if I do,
Me,
it's for like GPS navigation, because I literally have like a mobile GPS device on me tracking me. That's about it. Like unless it's an emergency, I'm not looking at social media. I'm not nothing. At the very least, I'm using it to take photos, videos. That's it.
yeah, photos.
Um, and now I have my camera. I've even tried to utilize that to just stray away from that. Again, I shoot my content, things like that, but I'm away from like social media and that aspect of life. And I don't, I've gotten more used to listening to music every now and then, but I do a lot of solo hiking, solo running on trails. So I generally don't like to listen to music in those situations because I want to be around, aware of my surroundings, and or I'm in some pretty remote areas at times where it's generally not a good idea to the sound out with music, because if there is like a predator nearby or something like that, aka a bear or something that I really don't want to come
AKA a
across,
bear.
or a human being, that is
Yes.
not trustworthy, because you come across some very sketchy people out in the woods sometimes.
But
You're
you
not going to
you
be,
can't
yeah.
it's not therapeutic if you're not really using your senses
I
to
agree.
engage. So
I
you're
agree.
not getting the same outcome, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not the full effect, no doubt. Every now and then I
Yeah.
do like the, music, but it's like generally no. And if I'm hiking with somebody, hell no. I'm just there for you and me and just the experience and enjoying it. Yeah, there's no need for music in that moment, as much as I love music. And yeah, there are like some moments where like, oh yeah, a song would be cool, but it's not the same. I love sitting by a little creek, listening to the running water, listening to the birds chirping, the sounds of the forest. It's just yeah,
Those are
the chipmunks running by.
yeah,
I
those are the
mean,
things that
yeah.
make you more s- I think self-aware and like we
Mm,
said before with the whole process of surrender, like being in the moment. When the
More
more
present.
moments,
Yeah.
yeah, the more moments you have of that presence and engaging your other senses instead of being in your head, surrender actually becomes easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And subjecting yourself to that is very important, especially when we're so used to just constant distraction and constant ever just
Yeah.
it's nonstop all day. It's insane,
We are
what we do.
nature.
Yeah.
That's how I really like to think about it.
Yeah.
We've become so disconnected from the things that really matter. That's how I feel.
No, no, I mean, without a doubt. It's just modern day society, unfortunately. You know.
Yeah.
And it's our job as parents to try and, find some sort of balance, which,
I
for
think
our
we're
kids,
doing
which is,
good.
yeah, I think so.
I
I
think
think
we're doing
in
good.
some ways I could probably do better, but I don't think I'm doing terrible either. I seen, me and my wife were at a restaurant yesterday, and it was just me and her, for our wedding anniversary, and there was young couple that came in shortly after us with a young girl, and she could just not sit still at the table without her tablet, a phone. I mean, this girl must have been like, I don't know, anyway, 6 to 8 years old, something like that.
Hmm.
And I mean, just she was not having it. Didn't seem like she was like on the spectrum or anything like that. She was just not, I will
Unfortunately,
say,
that's a norm. That's a
yeah,
norm these days, and
I
it's
know.
sad.
It is pretty sad, but it was just like, goddamn, and you know, the only situation my daughter has me when it comes to like a tablet, because we don't let her utilize it outside that, is when she's on the toilet nowadays. And honestly, it's been the only way she can cope and focus on pooping. So I'll give it to her, But outside of that, yeah, she's not seeing that damn thing, and we've limited screen time as much as we can lately.
Same.
But
Same.
like, so yeah, I look at that and I'm like, yeah, because I know it's a bit of a norm to see that, and I'm like, oh man, like I guess I'm doing something right, but not to not to talk down on those parents either. They
No,
seem relatively young, and I get it, I understand. It's not always easy. You were
there's
gonna
a
say something?
balance.
Yeah.
There's a balance that's needed. I like to say that everything exists on a spectrum of polarity. Everything, you can
Mm,
either use it for good or you can use it for bad, or you can use it in the middle where it works for both.
right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the balance that I try to find, and I probably more lean towards the side of not using it, but I'm
Yes. Not
somewhere
at, I mean,
in
not at
between
this
that. Yeah,
age.
yeah,
And if
yeah.
they're using it as like a tool, it's a different story. The only time my daughter uses the iPad is if like I'm cooking and she wants to play with me and I can't, she'll sit at the table and she plays his garage band. She does the little
Right,
keyboard
right,
and
right,
stuff.
right.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
figured
yeah.
it's nothing bad. She's being exposed to
Exactly.
something like that and
Yeah, it's very
use it in
important
the
when you
right way.
utilize that way. Yes, yes, I
Yeah.
agree. Absolutely. Yeah,
We were in
yeah.
Florida I think like a week and a half ago. And everybody down there, because we have family down there, everyone down there is
Mm,
on their phones constantly. And so my daughter is getting used to seeing everybody on their phone. And it's not like that at home. So we had dinner, I think it was one of the last days before we were to come back home with a lady that I used to know years ago. It was the first time she was seeing the kids, more grown and things like that. And
mm.
we're waiting for dinner, and the whole time she was like, "Mommy, mommy, let me watch something on your phone." And it was like that was the first time that ever happened because we don't do that. And I was just like, "It's okay to be bored. Like, let's talk.
Right.
Let's do."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's it does sadden me. I do understand using it for certain things, but I feel like it's become a crutch for a lot of people.
Oh, for sure. I mean, kids just don't genuinely know how to be bored. I mean, we used to be so easily distracted by the littlest of things, growing up. I mean, just, driving in the back seat of, my parents' car or whatever, like I'd look out the window and be absolutely entertained. Didn't require much. Nowadays, what we
Same.
need a tablet, we need this and that.
Yep.
Like, it's just, come on. Yeah, just look
Yep.
out the window. You're good. I don't know, like
For real.
yeah, like, and listen, back then we didn't have a choice, so that also matters too. But it's a weird, crazy world we're living in. To touch on your point with that, I was trying to like explain to my friend, like I noticed that during the concert, the Kid Cudi concert, like he, much like everybody else, felt very inclined to record a lot of the concert, like pull out the phone, and I tried to encourage him subtly. I was like, bro, just just watch.
Yeah, just be here.
Right. Like true, and like it actually pisses me off nowadays because like especially when it's like the popular songs, and goes for any artist now. Immediately all that anybody ever does is immediately pull out that damn phone, stick it up, and it as the listener, as the observer of the of everything that's going on, it takes away from the aesthetic of the concert. It takes away from the feel, like all I see is just a bunch of freaking people in front of me with their phones up, and it's like meanwhile it could be different, whereas instead of everybody just holding up their phones, everybody's holding up their hands or like bopping to the music, and it just the vibe in itself it becomes completely different.
Definitely.
Now you just look like a sea of idiots, essentially. I'm gonna say it, that are just mind controlled. And I always laugh too because it's like, how often are you ever gonna watch that recording, if
It's
ever?
true. That's such a good point.
Like
That's such a good
that
point.
shit's gonna sit in your phone forever. You're gonna pull it up in a couple of years, say, "Oh yeah, look, I was there." All right, like as if anybody really cares. Like you're just better off enjoying the moment. And like also while you're recording, you're genuinely not paying attention
You're
because you're
not.
looking at that screen, making sure you're getting the shot that you think actually matters. When in reality, you could just be in the moment and enjoy it. And those were the moments in which I cried. I mean, like, do you even have those moments if you're not truly in it, and experiencing it?
Yeah.
That's why, like, I genuinely, I'll do it like early. I'll do it early. I have a rule at a concert: never the intro, never the outro. You take that in. You take that in fully. You just don't do it.
Yeah.
Person comes out, boom, you pay attention. That's it. Like third or fourth song, one of those that it's just like that's the one that you go to the bathroom for. You get a little footage then, just like as a remembrance of, hey, I was there, or whatever. All right, if it's one of your favorite songs, maybe get a small clip. You know, but that's about it. And otherwise enjoy the experience, live it, just enjoy it. There's
Yeah.
truthfully, like that's how I feel, and again, that's my relationship with music. I don't know. I can't imagine most of these people actually going home and watching this over and over. Like, yeah, wow, that was. I got a couple of clips on my phone right now. I love Kid Cudi to death. Am I gonna watch that shit? No, I made one video about it. I'm good, and I didn't even use half the footage. Like, you know,
No, but you're so
yeah,
right.
that's it. I might come across it in a couple of years and be like, ah, yeah, that was
That
cool.
time.
Right, that time, But like again, I could just close my eyes and it takes me back.
Yes, because
You
you were
know?
fully
Right.
engaged in your senses. You were there.
Right.
Nothing
So
was distracting you from enjoying that.
exactly, I don't really need to look at it. I was present. I was enjoying it as I should, as it was meant to
Yes.
be. And that's with anything. Sports venues too. I love my sports. But you think I'll be doing that shit when if I'm going to watch the Knicks at the Garden soon? Hell no. I'm taking one picture and all that, one little video, and I'm gonna be just fully entrenched in like, wow, this is it. I'm here. But it won't be the same. You'll see the sea of people
Yeah.
holding
Hear,
it
hear
up.
me out.
Yeah,
Oh, so I think about that when my kids go through like graduation or put
same
on a
thing,
show at school. Like I know everybody wants to take
same
videos and
thing.
take photo. I'm not like that.
Nope,
And it's
you
the
don't need
truth.
to.
Anytime that I've ever taken video of like their graduation, I've never gone back and really looked at it because I remembered how I felt because I was there celebrating in the
Mhm.
moment. It's so wild.
Take a quick picture, whatever.
Yeah,
And
you don't
what?
need the
Like,
whole
oh,
performance,
you
you know?
need the walk up on the stage just so you can
Yes.
post it on social media. Like, look at what my baby did. All right, it's cool. At the end of the day, nobody gives a shit. It's a
But you're not gonna watch it back, and
you
the kids are not gonna watch that
know.
shit back either.
Right. Yeah, again, like maybe like long time down the line, you get one
Yeah,
little small clip, whatever. But again, I agree with you. Like as a mom, don't take away from the moment. Be in it, man.
yeah,
Experience it.
yeah.
That's a powerful moment for you, right?
They need that
You
too.
know,
They need that too.
and you're over here just looking at the screen like I don't know. I think it takes away from it. It does. I get the
It does.
sentimental value of wanting that. Chances are they nowadays, like the school or whatever, somebody's recording it, so you actually don't even need to do it yourself.
That's true.
You know, you can get that footage if you need to, like the Kid Cudi concert. Oh yeah, there's everybody's got footage. There's cameras everywhere, and then like he himself is capturing footage. Like the very next day, he posted a little thing about it. Oh, I could save that. I mean, like, yeah, look, that's better footage for one. And I was like, yeah, I was there. Look at that. You know, I was in that crowd. You know, like that. Meanwhile, I was enjoying it, you know, while you all just. I don't know, man. That's just my take. It's a hot take. I don't know if it's a hot take. It probably is a hot take because everybody goes so quick to those phones nowadays.
Yeah.
Nobody dances either, by the way. Like, it's very little dancing nowadays. We got to dance more, I think.
I'm with you on that. I am with you on that. I was actually telling I don't know how it was for you as a kid,
Yeah.
but when I was a middle schooler and like the beginning of high school, I
Yeah.
would go to dances. We had
We were
church
dancing.
dances, we had
Yeah.
school dances. They don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
I was telling my kids about that. They're like, what? But
Right. Right.
community, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
music, we're missing out. Kids are missing out.
Yeah, and I don't want to seem like oh we're we sound old a bit, you know.
Nah.
I feel like there's a little bit of that, you know, but I know truthfully no, because I know my parents said the same shit in a way, in a form, you know. But we still had that point of our lives where it was blockbuster video, man. We weren't.
Yeah.
The phones weren't out like that. We weren't, constantly on record. If we were, it was, on cassette. Yeah. And we were just living our lives, man, doing our thing. There's value to that. I do think there'll be
Yeah.
a reversal, though. I do.
I'm
I think
I think so too. I
with
think slowly but
yeah.
surely. And I think it's people like us that are going to bring it back.
I
There's going to
think we'll
be,
spearhead it, but I think it's the generation that's up ahead that's coming. I
but
think it's.
without parents and without people who are self-aware and bringing awareness to things like this
Mhm.
that we used to do, speaking little drops of wisdom, I don't know if they would do it on their own.
Yeah,
You know what I
maybe.
mean?
Yeah.
We all need each other.
No, you're right. You're right. Somebody's got to like
You gotta, yeah.
drive the bus a little bit. You're right. No doubt. But I think that's where technology's headed. With AI the way it is, nobody knows what's real or fake anymore. It's hard to tell. It's
Yeah.
the older generation is fucked. I talked to my mother. She's resigned. She doesn't know anymore. She's lost. And it's truthfully, I hear her speak about it. She doesn't even know what to do anymore. She doesn't know what's real, fake, nothing. At least,
Yeah.
I'm over here like I'm able to distinguish, but even at times I get fooled. The younger generation, I don't know what they feel about it. I think they're just like screw all of this, and or they use it as a crutch. But then I think it'll be the generation after them or something that's like, we need to get back to the roots. We need to do something about this. And I think you're starting to see that. There's a lot of the youth, like I said, they're forming groups where it's, no cell
Yeah.
phones and this and that, just like, these odd, planned gatherings, that are surrounded by more, connection, more, human interaction, which is great. I think, because again, you're seeing that kind of shift in real time, but yeah, it's slow. I mean, it's crazy nowadays. I mean, I don't even know if anybody's truly learning anything. So everybody's using Chat GPT and AI tech to get through careers and schooling and education. God, I
Yeah.
feel for, a lot of people. At the same time, AI tech has its uses in some crazy way. So
Yep.
I don't know.
Polarity, but that balance.
Yeah, for sure. I think there needs to be a hard balance with that, because awfully seems one sided at the moment. Oh, but that's it, D. That's all I got for you, the people tonight. I'm done. I'm kind of toast. I got to get ready for the epic journey, day 2 tomorrow. Oh man, everybody, thank you for tuning in tonight. Whether you're tuning in live here on Twitch or you're just catching it in post, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you, Meta Pumper, for popping in. Tricky Nick coming from Twitch. And a special thanks to my new co-host for the Mental Health with Epis podcast here on Epis Radio Entertainment, Deanna Astol. D, any final words for this people on this
Um,
beautiful Mental Health Monday?
just first, thank you again, Matt. I'm really grateful to be here. I think we're talking about some really important stuff. And I just want to tell everybody that you don't have to have everything figured out to be okay, and you don't have to carry everything alone. If you don't have people around you, you can find people. We're here,
Yeah,
and that's really it.
no, absolutely beautiful. Can't be better said. Please, if you're seeking help, call 988, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. There's help when you need it. Always. All right. This concludes today's show, episode 33, Mental Health with Epis. All right. We will be talking sports either tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday? Oh, God, I got a jam-packed week, man. I got too much going on, people. You know what? I'll mark it down. Wednesday, the sports show will be back. Post-game 1 of the NBA Finals. I will be live. We will be talking sports. So please join me for that if you are possible. If you're able to make it. All right, I will be here for that. I got a busy next 2 days. I got a little softball game with the company. Tomorrow, I got the a meetup in the Bronx with my run club. A lot going on with them. A little charity work, the whole 9. So I will do my best to be here Wednesday night and make it happen. Talk a little Knicks as I've been a little bit away from the sports discussion, so I'm do my best to get back to that and get rolling. We got a busy series ahead, and we got to talk about it. It's a beautiful thing. Let's go Knicks. And again, D, thank you for joining me tonight. It's a beautiful thing. Great show. Great discussion. Can't wait to cut this episode up and continue the conversation on all the socials. Please follow Deanna right there, DeAastol on YouTube and Instagram, Facebook, and me, Epis Benedetti, as well. That's all I have for you. As always, everybody, keep showing up. It's your boy, Matty B, Epis Radio Entertainment. Deanna Astol. Until next time.
Wake up! You can't remember where it was. Has this dream stopped?
Hope you find some kind of peace of mind. Find and hope you find some kind of peace of mind. Find
Was true. In my love. In
All
my
right, everybody, have a wonderful night. Have a beautiful Mental Health Monday. And enjoy the rest of your week. It's your boy, Matty B, Epis Radio. Keep showing up.